Alright, so let's start talking some look dev. So first, let's run out to the top, and let's just throw down some fireballs. Go in here, we'll call this one Nebula A, Nebula B. And we'll hop back out and we'll assign Nebula B to Nebula B and Nebula A. All right. So let's stick first to our particle fluid. Let me make a camera. Set the focal length to something like 14. Mess with our clipping. Whoops, we're not in the camera. Okay. Let's find an interesting view. Alright, let's say we just start out with this. Lock the camera back down. And go to our output. Just have our mantra here. Let's take these settings down a touch. And you'll notice here that I've knocked diffuse to 0, subsurface to 0, reflection to 0, refraction to 0, because we're not using any of those, so I don't want to calculate for those. And we'll do the same thing on our limits. You know, every little bit helps. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and render this view. Okay. All right. So right out of the gate, we're getting something kind of neat. But I want to show you something really quick before we get too deep in to our look deving. Let's go ahead and just render this image. And let's up the resolution just so that we have something a little bit more accurate to compare to. All right, so now we have an idea of what we're looking at. It's alpha, pretty thin. And you know what? I want to go ahead and render this image a little larger just because of the size of the screen that I'm using to capture this tutorial. So let's just do HD. Render one more time. Okay, so I finished up, and you'll see that one took about 1:17. So doubling the render size definitely took a little bit longer, as you would think. But okay, so moving on. Okay, and to give us an idea of what we're working with, let's go ahead and throw a background on here. And I'm gonna go with, let's see, Starfield. Accept and turn that on. Okay, and so you can see that we're a little thin. We seem to look okay over black, but as always with smoke and volumes, things like that, it's always thinner than you think it is. So that's why we're going to go into our shader and let's crank it up a notch. Save that image for comparison. All right, so now we're getting some of that density back. But we're looking a little flat. So let's start playing with things like our shadow density. But you can see that our alpha has thickened up considerably. Okay, so now playing with our shadow has helped. We're looking a little gray. Let's put that back to white. Okay. And perhaps we're a little thick. Let's walk it back a touch. Okay, that's starting to look cool. And then we can play around with things like the scatter. Come back up top side. So we're looking at our lights. As long as we don't crash. Okay, let's snap a picture there. Do a little compare and contrast. Just playing with the density. Looking at the alpha. You can see that we've thickened up the alpha considerably. Okay, go back to color. Something else I'd like to look at as we're going in this, and come back out to our top level, go back into our particle fluid, and then now let's take our voxel size down a bit, see if we can extract a little bit more detail. Okay, knocking down this voxel size, let's try 0.005. And then we'll render again. Okay, let's see. Did we get any mileage out of that? Can compare the two. Yeah, pulled out a little bit more detail. Take a look up in here. Yes, you can see we've definitely gone from a little bit of a smooth puffiness to a bit more definition. Let's see what we get, for sake of argument, if we knock it down a bit more. So now you will reach a point of diminishing returns, because then you'll start to get, if you have erroneous like singular particles, you'll start to see broken off little puffs, and we want to try and stay away from that if we can. Alright, so we pulled out a little bit more definition, as you can see here. Smaller we go, more detail we pull. Cool. Alright, so let's start playing with the light a little bit. have this one light. Let's kick it up a notch. There we go. Now we're starting to see some stuff. Yeah, you can see we got a lot of cool stuff going on in here. And now that we have sort of a basic understanding of how to create these types of simulations, now we can go in and we can harness all the power of all those frames that we used to create this simulation, and we're going to use them to drive up the point count and really thicken up this simulation so we can get that high level of detail. So let's go ahead and start moving into that.